I think it's incredible that her and my grandma were able to even show up for us as much as they could.
Yeah.
I feel like grandma is,
She's always been very,
Like motivating me.
do whatever for you,
you want to love and be around them,
backbone of our family.
She's like royalty.
but sometimes you just don't understand, like different mood swings, different feelings.
Grandma Jackie.
She's my mom's mom.
Grandma Jackie was a grandma to me, like that kid's grandma that you loved, that would spoil the hell out of you, do whatever for you. She's always been very, I would say, too nice to me at times. Honestly, kind of too cool.
My grandma, she always makes me feel like encouraged. She like has always gassed me up. You know, she's disciplined me when she needed to. Like she'll read me right when necessary, but she's always like motivating me, giving it to me funky, like just super down to earth, and just always made me feel seen, important, even when I felt like other family members on her side kind of weren't rooting for us and like, you know, were skeptical about our outcomes. But she was always loving all her grand stars, as she says. And so she's always made me feel like, yeah, like very much seen, very much important, and that I'm doing what I need to do. And can't do no wrong in her eyes. Yeah, so I mean, I love my grandma. I feel like she's very much progressive as well. Like just her ideas, like very much accepting and progressive for her time because she has so much exposure as like a military child as well, but also like compared to other grandmothers and aunts like in our community, especially in our Black community and some of my other family members, even like very much more accepting and just like progressive minded compared to the average grandma that I've heard or seen or encountered.
Right before we had left Florida, I lived with her, and she was always good to me. I couldn't tell nothing different. My grandma treated me just as good as my uncle, both my uncles. And you could say sometimes maybe better because I was the youngest and I was the grandkid, but she whooped me one time my whole life, and that was because I set a toy box on fire. God damn it, that was probably the best, worst goddamn whooping I had because she never had to whoop me again, and she whooped me into like a deep sleep. I woke up at dinner time and I fell asleep at lunch.
I feel like grandma is two different people sometimes. Sometimes she's super sweet, and sometimes she just doesn't know who she is. I feel like there's no balance. You know, sometimes you want to love and be around them, but sometimes you just don't understand, like different mood swings, different feelings.
She would click. Sometimes she would just click, and I would see it, especially if she was drinking, and then she would click and her attitude would hit. She'd just be cussing and stuff, and grandma had a mouth, and I would see that.
She was the alcoholic. She used to beat my mom so bad. She used to treat her so bad because she was different, but she never really understood that her daughter was different because she was alcoholic pregnant with her. So my mom has alcoholic syndrome. And because of that, we didn't get the full potential of a mother that we were supposed to have. Instead, we got a mother that is dysfunctional, not all the way there, have a mind of a 15-year-old raising girls, little boys. We literally had to learn everything ourselves because our mom wasn't healthy enough to be a mom. I started to get so angry with my mom, trying to understand like why you are the way you are. And I resented her. And it had to be for a family member that told me, your mom has alcoholic syndrome. And that just blew me away right there because everyone knew but me. I was the inside, but the outsider at the same time. I didn't know there was a story for why my mom was the way she was. And the story was deeper than I could ever even imagine. Grandma is a big part of why Mom is the way she is and why we were failed, because those generational curses follow.
Almost recollect like her experiences within myself, and I can see like the similarities, because for so long, when people would say, oh, you get that from your grandmom, you get that from your granddaddy, I'd be like, no, it's learned behavior. What are you talking about? But after, learning and knowing that we truly carry the genes of our granddaughters, like her trauma, I can, probably pass down to me, things that she has unlearned before me, or, by the time she had my mom, or I don't know, has been passed down to me. And it's things that I'm unlearning and trying to reverse, because you can't reverse your genes, which is crazy within myself as far as my trauma responses and things like that.
I know that everything that she went through was for a reason. Even though our mother had to suffer a lot, we don't know what she endured as a child, because you are what your mother was. Even though all that she did that was wrong, our mother still survived.
At the same time, she's always kind of been at the backbone of everything in our life. My mom is very close to her, so my grandma's always been a phone call away. I could hear her on the phone. I was closer with her as a kid than I am now. I was really close with my grandma as a kid, but as I got older, I always loved her, but I just wasn't that close as we got older. I don't know, because I didn't do a lot of things with her, which sucked. I wish I would have got to know her more and heard more stories and done things. Still do, still can, but didn't have that lens, didn't get the opportunity. My mom was, for the most part, a single mom that had a lot of help, as far as my grandma and then my great-grandmother. They were pretty much around a lot. Grandma Jackie and Nana were always there.
So Nana's my great-grandma.
Nana. Nana.
That's Nana. That's mom's mom. 3 generations.
We lived in my great-grandmother's house, actually, for a while. I even believe we had our own place at one time, but we were just at Nana's house because Mom worked so much and it was easier. So we would go to our apartment sometimes, but it was easier to be at Nana's house just because we were going to be there the next day anyway. That was kind of where we grew up for a lot of time in our life, a lot of cousins. So you got to think about it, that house was always busy. In Nana's house, though, she had her room that we were always in. Then the other room, growing up the whole time I was there, our Auntie Tahira, Titi, and her kids, they lived in that room. So it was us and Mom in Nana's room, and then she had her room. And then the third room was always empty, and that was for I always thought of it as any of Nana's kids come to visit, that's their room. She always kept it empty and clean. It was just a bed and a dresser in there. And I remember, Aunt Carolyn came to visit, or Uncle Jerome came to visit, or Uncle James came to visit. That room was for them or anybody else in the family. So that house was special because that was kind of base for everybody. That was home base. So
I don't know, she's like royalty. Almost like we had her on a pedestal. She couldn't do no wrong. Everybody knew, regardless of conflict that was going on, situations that happened, whether you were in a funk with your brother, sister, cousin, everybody knew to act right when Nana was around.
She's literally the biggest pillar of our family, the backbone of our family. And growing up in my life, when we saw her, that was when I saw every cousin, every uncle, great uncle, aunt. When she came around, everybody acted right. There was no bullshit. I seen everybody act a certain way, but with her, the utmost respect. She literally binded us all together. When Nana came to town, everybody was on their best behavior. You respected Nana's presence. You have a choice. She held it down.
Yeah, she was everything. I still remember her laugh, her cute little laugh. She was probably the same height as me, a little shorter. She was a nurse most of her life, and everybody knew Bernice as the nurse. Also being progressive, she knew what time it was. She was in tune with the times, always very much aware, allow people the space to live their lives, express themselves without judgment, but still, stubborn in their own way as far as like, doing better, being better when it came to health and cutting back on her cokes. Yeah, when I think of her, I think of her high cheekbones, her long silver hair, because she has some native in her. So whenever she would come into town, she would let me braid her hair, because, when I was growing up in like elementary, I swore I was a beautician. But yeah, I remember always being connected with her back home and just wanted to maintain that connectivity that we had, because she was just somebody that always had us in her care, more times than not, exposed us to a lot, like was there for all the outings and experiences. And she just was always staying connected with us, always checking in on us. Like even when things would happen here with her and my grandma, we'd call down there, not knowing they couldn't do much from, the other corner of the country, but still like we're that blanket of reassurance that we always had.
She would hop on the phone and say, "Girl, take them to the doctors." She would tell my mom to do something, and she would do it. She'd be in Florida, and we'd be here, and she would tell my mom to go do something. I remember, you can hear her voice. I'd be like, "Yeah, I want this," and she won't do it. And she would say it, and it would happen.
I think it's incredible that her and my grandma were able to even show up for us as much as they could by like coming to Washington as many times as they did while we were up here.
Nana, I don't really remember much of Nana. All I do remember is when I was disrespectful to Mom and I was angry with her, she would call Nana on the phone. I guess Mom and Nana were really close. I remember the last time I saw Nana, she came down from Florida to Puyallup, and she was staying with us, to visit with us. And it's terrible, but all I can remember, I was just in trouble by her most of the time. And I remember she said, "I love you, but I don't like how you're acting." That's the last thing she said to me, because she didn't understand what was going on in the household with me and Mom. We were very dysfunctional. I resented my mom a lot because of things that she let go on. I felt betrayed. So I would be disrespectful. I would act out and be harsh to her with not knowing the things that are going on with her that's wrong with her. My mom used to lock herself up in the room for days, wouldn't come out, depressed. And I never knew why. I just felt like maybe she didn't want to be with us. Maybe she didn't want to be bothered with us. Maybe she didn't want us. Maybe that's why she was in her room crying, because she has us and she doesn't want us. I have anything to do with us. I felt like we were a burden to our mom. And those feelings I had, Nana was down here, and I remember she would say, "You gotta love your mom. She's a good person. She loves you." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Nana, you don't know what's going on. You don't see what I see. You don't feel how I feel." And even though, Nana explained those things to me, I understood as life went on of those words that she said. And the thing I got out of that was, no matter how somebody is to you, always be the best person you could be, because you never know what they went through or what they're going through.
When I was young, we left Florida. When I get in trouble, I didn't say nothing that ever happened, because I didn't know that's why I acted bad. And I would just say I miss my great grandmother. And they would make me write letters or call her. And it was just a way for me to talk to her, though, because I knew that'd be like a bailout. Even if she would yell at me or something, I'd just be cool with it, because I was like, just miss grandma so much. She'd be so gentle at the end of the conversation, though. Even if she did yell at me, at the end, she would just be so gentle. Like, "All right, baby, I love you, though. I'll school or just something." And she gave me affection that I didn't get from my mom at times, or for a long time. And I knew from Nana, you got love. She loved us all. Because of her, I think we got to how we got to. We got as far as we got because of our great grandmother. All of us, My great grandmother, yeah, the dearest woman to my heart, the dearest woman. Where she died in 2014. That was the most hard news to catch ever. Like, that shit struck me. That was like the first death that really struck me hard, because I never imagined life without her.
I don't even know how long it was until Nana passed away. And the only reason I knew Nana even passed away or knew of the situation was because I woke up one morning and my mom was screaming. And I never seen my mom scream or yell. That just wasn't her. She was screaming so loud and she was crying. And we never seen our mother cry. Never. And she said, oh, they took her. They said, Lord, you took her from me. I don't got nobody else. That was my best friend. Those were the words she was saying. That I can always call her. Who am I going to call? It broke my heart. Because right there and then I understood who Nana really was to Mom. It was her safe shield, her go-to if she ever needed somebody. Knowing now as I got older, Nana and Mom they were so close. She always had Mom's back. She knew what we didn't know. So that's why their relationship was deeper than ours.
Her and my mom actually share a birthday. She was probably my mom's favorite person in the world. Yeah, literally up until she had passed, she talked to my mom all the time. My mom always stayed connected with, her mom, her grandma. She was always about family and just checking in on everyone.
Nana's an important part because she always been Mom's angel. She always protected her. She always loved her and she always tried to guide her. When Mom was going through her abuse and running away from home, Nana was the home that she always ran to, and Nana always protected her. I feel like she's very important because she was the reason we were all still together as a family. Nana was the big part of why we had to stay so strong for our mom, because she let us know that our mom has shortcomings and she is not responsible for everything that she does. She doesn't know better. Make sure you stay by her side and protect her and love her. Make sure you be respectful because you only get one mother. And when she's gone, your whole world's gonna feel like it came down.
But yeah, that's just the person she was. Naturally, it wasn't no surprise that she was a nurse forever, but just loving, aware, and just there, just very present, and definitely had an input in everything, all of her kids, grandkids, great-grandkids' lives. Always positive, but still gave her opinion and her thoughts to our mother, because she just wanted the best for us and was always making sure we were good. And so she was one of those king people that was always constant, and our support system never withered, of course, because she took her job as a grandmother, great-grandmother, mother very seriously. And I'll never forget that. Yeah, she's loved, for real. She is loved.